According to the indictment, they were part of the Imperial Gangsters street gang that originated on Chicago's North Side in the early 1960s. Federal authorities tonight say the gang has evolved into a national organized crime threat, even though their gang color is pink and symbol is a cartoon character. Tonight, those seen here and several others under arrest are accused of multiple in Chicago, East Chicago, Indiana, and South Florida.
Just told me in the past 5 minutes is a bunch of bull, isn't it? Isn't it now? You're just putting on a show for me because I got a camera here, aren't you?
No, half of it. But the thing is, we can't be...
Half, 90%, how much? How much was bull?
20%.
Okay. See, I was out on the street asking people like you questions before you were born, probably.
Yeah.
And I can figure out bull when I hear it very easily.
Let me get a close-up of your chain.
Formed in 1970 at Kelvyn Park High School in Logan Square, the Imperial Gangsters began as a response to racism and violence from white gangs like the Gaylords. What started as a protective club quickly evolved into a powerful street organization. Led by figures like Carlos Little Mexico Quintanilla, the IGs grew from school halls to the streets of Humboldt Park, building a reputation for discipline, firepower, and organized tactics. Over the decades, they expanded their territory, formed key alliances, and fought brutal wars with rivals like the Latin Kings and Maniac Latin Disciples. This is the story of how the Imperial Gangsters went from victims to one of Chicago's most feared street organizations.
ABC 7 I team learned tonight that a federal grand jury in Miami indicted several alleged top members of a Chicago-based street gang. They're accused of committing multiple
Accused leading members of the Chicago and Florida gang created coast-to-coast chaos, according to federal law enforcement, operating an organization as if it was a Fortune 500 firm. According to the indictment, they were part of the Imperial Gangsters street gang that originated on Chicago's North Side in the early 1960s. Federal authorities tonight say the gang has evolved into a national organized crime threat, even though their gang color is pink and symbol is a cartoon character. Tonight, those seen here and several others under arrest are accused of multiple murders in Chicago, East Chicago, Indiana, and South Florida. Among those accused, 25-year-old Leonel Leo Carrera, 27-year-old Alex Enrique A-Rock Samariba, and Ramon Porky Madruga, who was 28. During the federal investigation, agents say they found gang territory in Chicago given names such as DevilSide and DarkSide. Franklin Park was called the Jungle, and Northwest Indiana was Harbor or No Love Side.
Around here, right now, we don't have no guns. And if anything, I'll admit we do use baseball bats once in a while if needed. We may even use a blade or so. But guns, we're trying to cease fire. That's what's going on right now, cease fire.
Now, about 90% of what you just told me in the past 5 minutes is a bunch of bull, isn't it? Isn't it now? You're just putting on a show for me because I got a camera here, aren't you?
No, half of it. But the thing is, we can't be...
Half, 90%, how much? How much was bull?
20%.
Okay. See, I was out on the street asking people like you questions before you were born, probably.
Yeah.
And I can figure out bull when I hear it very easily.
Right.
Now, half of it was bull, wasn't it?
Not half of it. Thing is,
How much?
We can't be frank with you because this is going to be publicized. And if it is publicized, we can't tell you where we're getting our guns from.
We straight march on. What's up?
What's up, folks?
What's up, folks? What's up? What's up? What's up? What's up, G?
What up, homicide right now? Boom. You all saying for life. That's
For
how
life?
we do it on this side.
Look
Real,
at G
nigga.
over here, Trey,
Look at the mob. Go take a look at the mob. We all like this.
We mob deep.
The Imperial Gangsters began in 1970 at Kelvyn Park High School in Logan Square, Chicago. As the Hispanic student population grew, they faced racism and harassment from both white gangs like the Gaylords and biased school staff. In response, a group of Hispanic teens formed the Imperial Spanish Gangsters, a club meant to defend themselves and support each other during school hours. In 1971, younger kids from Drake and Palmer and Armitage and Drake, inspired by the group, took the name to the streets. Led by Carlos Little Mexico Quintanilla, they formed the first real Imperial Spanish gangster sets. Harassed by Taylor Street jousters near Belden and Kimball, who assaulted them and their families, these youth saw gang life as a necessary defense. This marked the beginning of the Imperial Gangsters' street presence and their first rivalries, first with the Jousters, then the Gaylords. By 1972, as older members moved on, Little Mexico restructured the gang into an organized street crew modeled after the Mafia, inspired by The Godfather. The group started offering protection to local businesses, especially the Armitage Theater, and adopted a flashy gangster style: coats, canes, and pistols. That same year, the group rebranded as the Imperial Gangsters. With a growing presence, Imperial Gangsters established themselves as a well-armed and disciplined crew. They excelled both in academics and street activity. Many early members were honor students. Their black and pink colors were chosen simply because no other gangs were using the combo, while their gangster crown came from the Imperial margarine logo. In 1974, the Imperial Gangsters' first war with another Hispanic gang broke out, the Latin Kings, triggered by jealousy over IG expansion. Also in 1975, Imperial Gangsters clashed with the Stone Freaks, leading to a Freaks' member being in 1976. The gang wars expanded to new areas. In 1976, the Imperial Gangsters opened sets in West Humboldt Park near Cameron School and Hermosa at Costner and Cortland, sparking wars with white gangs like the Youngblood Freaks, Rice Boys, and Karlov Boys. The Imperial Gangsters held down this turf until 1982. In 1978, the Imperial Gangsters helped form the United Latino organization ULO with the Spanish Cobras, Maniac Latin Disciples, and Latin Eagles to counter the Latin Kings and White Gang Alliance UFO. That same year, the Imperial Gangsters joined the newly formed Folk Nation, further strengthening their presence behind prison walls. In 1979, the Imperial Gangsters opened a historic suburban chapter in Franklin Park, the Jungle, one of the first Hispanic gangs to claim a Chicago suburb. They held firm against rivals like the Latin Kings and ruled the drug trade along Mannheim RD and Grand Ave well into the 2000s. That year, they also began calling themselves Almighty Imperial Gangsters, tightening bonds with Latin Eagles, Cement City Royals, and Insane Popes. In 1980, Imperial gangster Mad Dog Carrasquillo and Maniac Latin disciple King Vic wrote the Spanish Gangster Disciples SGD Constitution, creating a structure for Latin folks behind bars. This move, approved by Larry Hoover, helped solidify Imperial Gangsters' leadership within the Folk Nation. Throughout the 1980s, the Imperial Gangsters spread to new areas like Cicero 19th and Cicero Ave and Belmont Cragen, where they remain strong today. The Cicero Imperial Gangsters later flipped to 2-6 in 1989, ending IG operations there. Internal divisions began in 1985, with the Imperial Gangsters from Kimball and Cortland collaborating with Spanish Cobras to form Cobra Gangsters, sparking beef with Spalding and Armitage Imperial Gangsters. Tensions grew between Imperial Gangsters and other folks, Spanish Cobras, Insane Campbell Boys, and YLO Cobras, fracturing former alliances. Despite setbacks, the Imperial Gangsters stayed strong in Franklin Park and built up significant territory in Belmont Cragen starting in the early 1980s, which remains a stronghold to this day. Gangster City is considered the primary stronghold for the Imperial Gangsters in Chicago, acting as the heart of their operations and identity. Located in Humboldt Park, Gangster City has long been one of the most heavily respected and active IG neighborhoods. This set is deeply embedded in conflict with some of their most bitter rivals, including the Latin Kings, Orchestra Albany Cobras, and the Maniac Latin Disciples. Known for its intense gang wars and territorial pride, Gangster City has played a central role in shaping the Imperial Gangsters' presence across the West Side. One of the sets within this area is DDubb 1700, holding down the block at Drake and Wabansia. One of the more recent sets is DC or 1900, based around Drake in Cortland. This set emerged in the early 2000s and has built strong alliances with other nearby Imperial Gangsters. While they feud with most opposition, 1900 remains cool with the Eagles, making them one of the few exceptions to the general rule of conflict. Not far from there is DS Street, holding down Drake and Shakespeare, another active Imperial Gangsters hood that's linked into the same structure and history. To the east, you'll find Killer Park, repping Kimball and Palmer. Further south, on Lawndale and Altgeld, is Creeptown, one of the more aggressive and territorial Imperial Gangsters sets currently active. Perhaps one of the most historically important sets is DevilSide, based at Belden and Drake. This location was home to the very first Imperial Gangster set in the 1960s, making it sacred ground for members of the nation. Another deeply rooted faction is Cameron City, also referred to as Ears World, operating near North and Hamlin in West Humboldt Park. Legendary Imperial Gangsters figures like Spanky and Godfather played major roles here, with Spanky uniting Humboldt Park and Logan Square under the Imperial Spanish Gangster Alliance before Godfather eventually assumed leadership in 1971. To the northwest lies Belden City, also known as On-Site World or Garo Gang, with strongholds at Belden and Mango as the main block, and Belden and Monitor, Belden and Major, and Grand and Major also heavily active. Further west, you'll find LWST, based at Laverne and Wrightwood, holding it down with a mix of old heads and young members continuing the legacy of the Imperial Gangsters. Lastly, the set known as Darkside reps the intersection of Spalding and Armitage. Known for its deep roots and militant approach, this block remains active and affiliated under the Imperial Gangsters umbrella. From their roots in Logan Square to their current-day sets across Humboldt Park, Franklin Park, and Belmont Cragen, the Imperial Gangsters have left an unmistakable mark on Chicago's gang history. Their rise reflected the larger struggles of marginalized youth. Their battles shaped alliances and rivalries that still echo in Chicago's streets, and their internal politics exposed the fragile bonds within even the most organized gangs. Despite police crackdowns, internal divisions, and shifting alliances, the Imperial Gangsters have proven to be one of the most enduring names in the city's gang culture. Whether seen as protectors, outlaws, or survivors, the IGs remain a symbol of how Chicago's neighborhoods were, and in some places still are, shaped by the street codes written in blood, loyalty, and survival.